We're talking today about the Waste Management Open. It is an incredibly fun time. I can say that I've been there. To say that there's an alcohol-related event is a dramatic understatement. My name is Craig Rosenstein. I'm a criminal defense attorney and have been so since 2006. I have founded this firm, and I'm happy to say that we have a great deal of amazing attorneys that work at this office. And so we're going to talk about the crimes that have taken place in past years and hopefully how to avoid them. So the first one is obviously going to be the minor in consumption. If you're under the age of 21, it's illegal to consume alcohol in the state of Arizona, even on technically private property. What we see regularly take place at the open are people going to the open with fake IDs, purchasing alcohol, and then undercover or uniformed officers cite them for minor in consumption. Anybody under the age of 21 having alcohol is going to have a misdemeanor charge as a result, and those are unfortunate and avoidable. So don't drink if you're under 21 and certainly don't get caught. The other things that we see that kind of graduate in importance is the DUIs that take place either going to, leaving from, or surprisingly enough, taking place at the open itself. So going to, there's a lot of pre-gaming or people partying in advance of the open, going there and unfortunately not getting a designated driver. The event itself is alcohol fueled, and so we see a lot of people who show up completely sober early in the morning, have great seats, and then end up partying all day, and then trying to drive home and making that mistake. There are a ton of officers who are looking for any of the telltale signs of impairment, and if they see any of them, they're going to immediately stop you and you're going to be arrested. Almost every year, my office represents somebody who gets drunk and then decides to have a good time by jumping in one of the golf carts that are around on the golf course. In Arizona, there is no private property exemption for DUIs, so driving a golf cart on a golf course while impaired can get you arrested. And that's not just for the open, that's for all the times that you go golfing. For a myriad of policy reasons, the city of Scottsdale is one of the single greatest prosecutors of, we call it UIP, but urinating in public. It happens in Old Town every night. Frankly, as the bars close, people are kicked out and they have to urinate, and they end up going, somewhere somewhat discreet and being stopped by Scottsdale PD. UIPs are heavily prosecuted, and the open is no excuse or differentiator. At the open, unfortunately, the restroom lines are often incredibly long, but before you decide to use a bush as an alternative, you should be aware that in the state of Arizona, it is not a petty offense for UIP. It's actually a misdemeanor, which means a criminal record that unfortunately can follow you around for a long time, and it's an embarrassing one. And so just try not to urinate outside. Use a bathroom. Disorderly conduct is something that takes place in almost any circumstance where a lot of people are drinking. In Arizona, it is unconstitutional to have a charge of public intoxication. And soon as that was ruled unconstitutional, in as much as no city or jurisdiction can create a charge of just purely being intoxicated in public, what we saw is a dramatic increase in disorderly conduct charges. So if you disrupt the peace of another, then you're guilty of disorderly conduct. Getting drunk, yelling, screaming, doing things that drunk people have a tendency to do can easily fall into what is one of the broadest reaching statutes ever written in Arizona. For the amount of people that are at the open, the amount of people that are disruptive is actually relatively small. Most people are at least somewhat respective to the game of golf, although usually we will have a streaker or somebody do something completely inappropriate and break up play. My office has been one of the firms that represents individuals who've been accused of those crimes. They are prosecuted pretty extensively, and usually they're done as either misdemeanors or felonies, depending on the circumstances. They're not just slaps on the wrist and told to go home. Those charges can sometimes be pretty extensive. Unfortunately, some of you watching this video might not have heeded the advice in advance and might actually need some representation through the criminal justice process. If you do, you can schedule a free consultation with us by calling the number above.